Go.
Hello, class. You have two assignments coming up, and one of them is in classification. To this point, you should have done a couple of really simple classifications when you did the paper chromatography and the fingerprint activity. Then I gave you a little bit more complex type of classification, the hierarchical type classification, and you were asked to use something around your house to classify. In the activity itself, we use buttons in my class. I also gave you a video to look at that should help you as far as what is hierarchical. So you really need to watch the videos. The other type of classification, and I want to say that this fits really well in the middle grades, is called a taxonomic classification, also known as the dichotomous key. The activity I want to ask you to practice do some of the things is was developed by a teacher, middle grade teacher, and published in the journal Science Scope, which is the middle grade journal. And I really think she was a smart lady, what she did. She basically took common everyday things like this, for example, and she built a classification system, taxonomic key for these different weird objects. But if you know anything about taxonomy and classification, scientists do the exact same thing in biology particularly. But I took a dendrology course, which was a study of trees, and we did this exact sort of thing. Basically, you're using your skills of observations, and by doing that, it takes you down to what the animal or the plant actually is. Entomologists do the same thing with insects because insects have variation. They have wings or not wings. So the idea is, how do you use your observation skills to identify something based on this key that some mastermind put together? I want to go through one of these, and we'll use this. And what I do with my class, if it was a face-to-face, I ask you what this is, and everybody screams out, "It's a pencil, you dummy." No, I'll say, no, it's not a pencil. You've got to follow this key known as the Gismos and, Doodads dichotomous key, which is also a taxonomic key, to get the answer. Truthfully, you actually have the answers. I provided that to you in your file. So, but that's not the fun thing to do. The fun thing is to actually go through the key to try to figure out what it is. So I want to just read it to you. You start at the very beginning. 1A, you have a choice. Object is partly or mostly made of metal. And then object has no metal is your other choice. Well, it does have metal up at the very top. So you go to step 2. Object has non-metal parts. Well, that's going to be it. But the other choice is object is completely made of metal. So you choose object has non-metal parts. You go to step 3. Step 3 is object is less than 10 centimeters in length. Object is 10 centimeters or greater in length. So you need to get a ruler at this point if you don't know what centimeters is. I'm going to go ahead and tell you, a centimeter is about the width of your little finger. At least it's about the width of my little finger. So obviously there's more than 10 on this object here. So using this key, if it were less than 10 centimeters, this would be a whippersnapper, which I think is a clothespin, but it's not a clothespin. So object is 10 centimeters or greater in length. You go to step 4, and you have a choice. Object is pointed at one end. It's a tapered doodad. Object is not pointed at one end. It's a common doodad. So this would be a common doodad. Not a pencil, but a common doodad. And that's just because it's an unsharpened pencil. They're really easy. I will say some of these are more difficult than others. I think the coat hanger is pretty difficult. So I want you to do at least 5 of these. This is sort of an honor system. You can say you did, or you can just say you did 5 of them and then tell me what 5 you did. If you want to get a little extra credit, and if you videotape yourself keying these out, and you do more than 5, I'll give you some extra credit. There's actually 30 objects to classify. There's the wooden clothespin, the sharpened pencil, the unsharpened pencil, the wire coat hanger, metal fork, metal knife, metal spoon, nut, bolt, nickel, penny, small paper clip, jumbo paper clip, paper fastener, a black or brown bobby pin, which is hard to find these days, a white shirt button, a white piece of chalk, that's even harder to find. We don't use chalk that much. A white paper plate, microwavable, white plastic fork, white plastic knife, white plastic spoon, white candle, but it's not round. Which is not, which is really difficult. Actually, when I do this in the face-to-face class, I have a candle and I had to cut it where it was square shaped. White soap, plastic clothes hanger, not white. That's really hard to find. A plastic mask, a colored 2-hole plastic button, a colored 4-hole plastic button, a glass jar, a piece of yellow chalk, and then a solid colored bar of soap, not white or yellow. So those are the things you can use to build your your doodads and gizmos. But the key should enable you to find what their fictional name is for all of those. So do 5, honor code. If you video it and you do more than 5, I'll give you some extra credit for this assignment. Thank you.